What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be playing some old Minecraft and giving some life advice as well. So, gonna make a new world. We're gonna call it Life Advice. Ooh, advice. Boom. Gonna get some wood real quick. Something I really like about old Minecraft is honestly how much easier it is to play. I did set this to hard mode just because I think that it would be, maybe not a challenge, I guess, but a little bit more what I'm used to playing. And then pickaxe. Let me organize this. Yeah, I think I'm gonna live right here next to this lake. I think that would be pretty cool. There's so many sheep here. I haven't gotten any food yet. Now I can make a bed. And we got somewhere to sleep. Awesome. Oh, cows. Nice. Alright, hopefully I'll get food this time. I forgot how like odd cave generation used to be in like older versions of Minecraft, because there's like no coal or iron or anything like that here, and in newer versions it's just like everywhere, and there's not a lot of like other blocks. It's just stone. Something that I think is really important for I guess people to remember, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you are constantly alone, I guess, right? Like solitude is important. I think everybody should learn that skill. But at the same time, there does, there does come times when you gotta get out of your shell a bit more. When I was a kid, I was bullied a lot. I didn't fit in. I liked Five Nights at Freddy's a lot, and for a lot of kids, that was like the thing for a couple years. But I still liked it for a few years after that, and I don't know. Some people thought that was weird, right? But people didn't like me for one way or another, and that's okay. But I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that it made me very closed off, because I thought, everybody I spoke to a degree, they would find me like weird or annoying or something like that in some way or another, and that just doesn't feel good. But I learned that choosing to be alone now, like it used to be good for me because there was that safety, right? But I guess what I'm getting at is that people liked me even less when I was being like alone and closed off and quiet and that type of thing. Don't let anybody tell you how you should be, right? Oh, creeper. Two creepers. Jesus. Hold on. 1 second. I'm kind of going on a stupid thing. But yeah, being closed off can be worse than meeting people that might not like you and that type of thing. Because like the reality of that is that most of the time in life you're probably gonna find at least like one or two people that, I don't know, you just don't vibe with, or they don't like you, or something like that. But it shouldn't be something that brings you down. Like, because there's always people out there that do like you and will appreciate you and that sort of thing. I guess another thing is like, well, Ooh, iron. When I moved for the first time, moved out of state, um, I moved because I really didn't like my home state. So basically, right, I hate this state. This place sucks. There's nothing to do here and all that, right? And then I went out and I moved to Idaho. And the issue with Idaho is that there's arguably even less to do there, right? But and for a while when I was there, I was like, this place sucks too. I hate this, right? But what I learned from that is that like hating every place I go to is not going to work. Like in the long run, it's just not going to work because there's going to be things that you like and don't like about, pretty much every place you go. I don't believe that there's a perfect place on earth, but that's just my experience, right? You can't just hate everywhere you go, because moving out of anger, I feel like it's not gonna allow you to be happy in different places. You have to just be okay with the way things are, right? Like whatever place you live at, even if it sucks, you just gotta be okay with that. I miss when the iron blocks were just blocks like this. Let's see. Don't hold don't hold grudges. Okay. And what I mean by that is don't hold grudges towards other people, right, that have done you wrong in the past, and don't go like making it a huge thing, talking about it all the time. Would you rather be bothered about it all the time, or would you rather find something else to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Look, I do know that people do things that aren't so great and absolutely should be talked about when you get the chance to, but on the other side of that, it's just like, there are times when it's doing more harm than good, right? Constantly being angry about something that happened a long time ago, really, the problem with that is just, well, you will not get over it by doing that. The best way to get over something, is to find something else to do. I'm not gonna act like this is like 1,000% accurate for all people, because I don't think it is, right? But the reason why I say that is because, well, everybody's experience is different. Whatever makes you feel better is really up to you. But yeah, I mean, if it's really that big of a deal where it's still like tearing you up inside all the time, it's not worth it to keep thinking about it. There are better ways to process that and get through that, without causing your own suffering. Forgive or forget. I guess forget is what I just went over. Forgiveness is also something that I think is pretty important, right? And it's not necessarily like forgiving the other person for what they did. I think that's important too, but you gotta forgive yourself in a way. And by forgive yourself, I guess what I mean by that is you gotta not get mad at yourself when somebody does you wrong and you think it's your fault, right? I know there are some things that are like a two-way street or whatever, but you've got to forgive yourself for going about something the wrong way, right? Because the last thing that I think you should do when you're upset about something is make it about the fact that you know, were too stupid to not know when somebody was doing something wrong. If somebody's going to do something evil, right? They're they're not always going to make it obvious, and a lot of times even that person doesn't know that they're doing something wrong. So, you know, and people are dumb, right? A lot of people are just not as smart as they think, me included, right? I don't know why I opened the crafting table to do this. This is a prime example of that, by the way. But a lot of people don't understand that what they're doing is wrong and won't know when they should take accountability for doing that. And, you know, everybody's a victim in their own story. I forgot that you could starve to death. I forgot that was a thing. Don't interact with other people's beef if it doesn't involve you, because then you're adding yourself to this beef, right? And now I understand the situation where you might like want to help somebody out with something that they're dealing with another person and that type of thing. But what I'm really trying to say is that I think a lot of arguments and disagreements and beef in general that people have with each other would be resolved if people just quit going back and forth to as many people as possible about, you know, things that somebody else is doing, right? Because, like, you know, if you have two friends, for example, that aren't really getting along with each other, what I did one time, right, is because I was still friends with these two people, even though they didn't really like each other. And what ended up happening, because I didn't say anything to either one of them about what either one of them, you know, is getting up to, is now they're friends again, right? And that was because, you know, they weren't hearing things back and forth about each other behind each other's back, you know, with me being the middleman, right? Because people are biased towards their own opinions, right? And, you know, whatever you tell them about somebody else, I feel like if you're one-on-one with somebody, you're probably more likely to tell them stuff that might be more appealing to them and their situation, which in turn makes you like disliked by one or both of them, both of the people involved. And I just don't understand the point in doing that. I think it just causes these two people to be driven apart more, and it also makes you it makes you the cause of that as well. Maybe not the direct cause, but, you know, what I think is the case is that people will do things in favor of themselves, like, regardless, right? But at the same time, can you eat pumpkin? No. At the same time, you know, oftentimes there are people that are willing to forgive others, and the best way to do that, I think, is to just give each other space for a while. But yeah, again, like that's the forgive and forget thing. Like, these people became friends again because they didn't hold a grudge against each other, and I wasn't telling them things behind their back about each other, and they were able to sort their own stuff out on their own time. But yeah, anyway, like gossip and whatever, I understand how that type of stuff like can be fun, I guess, but it's not worth the drama most of the time. And if you're like me and you're really like not wanting to participate in that, it's better to just like leave things be, right? If you can help it, I really do think it's better to leave things be if you have the option to. Yeah, basically, forcing yourself to be alone sucks. Yeah, don't hold grudges because grudges are bad. And don't insert yourself in other people's beef. And forgive yourself when somebody does you wrong. Anyway, y'all, thanks for watching. I'll probably make another one of these if I feel like it. I don't know, like and subscribe if you feel like. But yeah, see y'all later.